The advice being given is not to put financial planning or goals on hold, as most people have taken a wait-and-see approach to the pandemic. Charmaine Francois, CEO, National Commercial Bank of Anguilla, instead recommends a review of current financial plans.
One of the critical ones is to reassess your spending, prioritize in terms of wants versus needs. So the essential thing for us today is to focus on the essential items, your needs, and the non-essential can be removed. So the focus have to be on food, health, safety, the core.
Francois says reassessing your debt is also critical. Planning beyond the loan deferrals being offered by financial institutions. She also addresses major concerns facing individuals and families as to whether they should invest at this time.
It all depends on affordability. So the end result is whether you can afford that financial, that decision that you're taking on. So if you're going into a mortgage loan, you have to assess whether your cash flows can support. That's the critical aspect, whether your cash flows can support and assessing affordability.
The CEO notes that during the pandemic, interest rates are at its lowest in history, thus an opportune time for investment. Francois is promoting planned spending and intentional saving.
There's unconscious spending, which is the one that is detrimental to achieving your financial objectives. So where you spending without a plan, there's no budgeting, basically a lot of impulse buying, that type of spending will affect you achieving your financial goals. Where you have in terms of saving is critical at this time. And even throughout one's working life, one of the advice that we always put forward is that one should always put aside at minimum 10% of the earnings.
She also advocates the building of an emergency fund to find some type of easement during the pandemic.
So that fund now can assist in terms of meeting their expenses. And typically the rule of thumb is that one should have at least 6 months of expenses saved up. The pandemic now has shown us that you need to have way more than 6 months, because we now were about 18, almost 2 years into heading into 2 years into the pandemic.
The banker is advising people who are still gainfully employed to set aside more towards a survival budget. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.